So I am no polyglot by any stretch of the imagination. However, I do understand languages. Um, there are languages where there are languages where it's common for there to be a lot of runway. And when I say a lot of runway, I just mean a lot of context. There are languages that are very short. English is a very ignorant language.
No, it's
And
the best.
oh well, listen, don't blow smoke up my butt. But it's English is one of those languages where we're not we're like cavemen. Keep very short. We don't need all the fluff and all the runway. Now, my question for you on that is back to what Denny is saying. When you inject the body, which is what you're doing, you're talking about, the beginning, the body, and the end. When you're injecting the body, do you know where you're going?
Sometimes, not all the
Okay.
times.
Okay, that's I can sense that, and I know Denny can sense that. So how can we help you? How can we help you know which direction? Where do you want to go? Let me ask you that. When Denny was asking that, where do you want to go?
See, the broader point here of what we're talking about, and this is for everyone, is that sometimes we have those word salads, so to speak, because our mind doesn't know where to go. So we're buying time. All right. So what Matt's asking is maybe a better way of saying or asking what I was asking. If you if you don't know where to go, that's the problem. If you do know where to go, it's like you picking up your car keys. If you know where the kid's school is because you've been there 50 times, you go right to it.
Mhm.
If you don't know where it is and you're lost, it'll take you longer. So what we want to do is stop the role play a minute and let's develop the what you should be saying. And then we'll build the sandwich back where you'll know what to say. But I think what's happening here, Matt, is that she doesn't know where she wants to go.
Right. So sometimes she knows, sometimes she doesn't. However, she doesn't discriminate between the two. So she always you Ellie, and we're not talking about you like you're not here. This is for everybody because a lot of realtors do this. They just talk and talk and talk. And then if they ever do get to a good point, the consumer misses it because you just spent 20 minutes talking about nothing. You could have
Correct.
at the end of the phrase, guys, follow me. At the end of the phrase, you could have told them the missing piece to find the Ark of the Covenant, and they would completely miss it.
Hey guys, you know what? I completely lost the point. I think
Right,
I don't even know what we were talking about anymore because we're just
right, right, right. So,
About the
but
principle and the way you deliver a message. That's the word.
right.
So,
So if you know where you're going, go there.
So let's
okay.
If
talk
you,
about what should be in the body.
mhm.
What if
So right
somebody
now in the
asks you
body, okay.
if somebody asks you why I should hire you, so what you're attempting to do here is this is where it gets a little tricky. No, you would have had a hard time before you started talking to me and Matt of answering that, but you would have been telling them a bunch of stuff with a bunch of puffery. What you're attempting to do is practice the skill of asking before answering, but at some point you have to answer.
Correct.
So what is the answer? So, for example, let me give me a minute, then I'll let Matt take a minute. So you're asking me, and you ask me, why should I hire you? So I would then start asking a couple of questions. So you said you asked that question to the other two agents, correct?
Yes.
And what did they tell you?
So they said they have the marketing plan, they had this and that, you
Got
know.
it. All right. So there's a strategy here. So, Matt is talking about getting to the point, but when you're in a series of questions, it's kind of like watching an attorney in court. He asks questions before he gets to the real question. Then you're going to tell me that, or they may not tell me at all. That was a 50-50 question. They may not tell me at all. My next question is going to be, well, when they told you that, was that satisfying to you? Did they satisfy what you're looking for in an agent?
So one of them, they had like a nice, presentation. The other one, I think he said they will come back with some answers for me because I had some questions.
Okay. What was missing in their answer? What am I doing? I'm asking a series of questions to get them to tell me what's missing or what they liked. I will end with, okay, and this is where you are starting to go, I think. They told you all that. Let me ask you, your first agent, did they make some promises they didn't keep? And most likely they did. Or how do you know they're going to follow through with that? Now, see, I just asked you a series of questions, but kept it on the subject. Matt, go ahead. How would you handle it?
Yeah. So you've interviewed 3 people. Okay, and what did you hear or what did you not hear? Was it something that they said or didn't say that you weren't a fan of?
So I think all of them, they were like, both of them, they were well prepared. The one presentation was good, and the other one had to question. I had some question, and I was expecting some answers soon.
Okay, so what prevented you from making a hiring decision when you talked to those other 2?
I want to make sure that I'm taking the right decision since I've been through this experience, and I want to be making sure that this time it really sells my house and gets me the money that I want.
Okay, and what are the prerequisites that you feel you need to know for your home to sell this time around?
A good price, I guess, right?
Okay, well, we can do that. One more question for you. So you want to know why you should hire me? Is that right?
Correct. Yes.
Well, the reality is I'm not sure you should. I know that might sound odd. So
Okay.
before I read you the menu of the services I offer, what is most important outside of the home selling? What is most important? I'm taking this a little different, guys. What is most important to you to know from the agent to know they're the right agent to help you sell the property?
It's important to me to have a clear image of what's happening, and so that communication is very important, and also integrity and transparency.
Okay, what's good communication looking like?
I want to know every time what's happening, and if they have calls, if they have, to inform you right away, or when it's something important to be delivered is up, not after a week.
Denny?
Yes. Well, here's, I'm going to go ahead and stop this here.
Mhm.
Can you see what we're doing? We're asking
Yes.
questions germane to the question. And the person asking, why should I hire you? So if Matt was talking to me, I could tell he's working on answering my question. He wasn't going off some other, I felt I was getting to where I wanted to go, but he was interviewing me. He was asking me to load the gun, and I wasn't even aware of it.
Mhm.
Why? Because I felt like he was answering my question. He was getting there. So if you're going to use words, use them in a way that will make the customer feel like you're answering it without
Okay.
just coming out and asking a lot of questions that weren't really tied into his question. I felt, Matt, that you were making progress on giving her an answer.
Mhm. Mhm. Well,
So
and I took it a little bit different at the end because you guys, you can always go back to the route that I've done before, and I know Maria knows this, and a few other people know this. Well, if I told you that I was going to do X, Y, and Z, would you have any reason to believe me? Frankly, do you have any
Yeah, I
belief?
like that.
Do you have
Yeah.
any belief? And the other 2 guys, when they told you everything they were going to do, any reason to believe them? So, and then you can go to the So how can we convey in the most concise manner today what you need to know that we're the right people to help you? How can we
I bet
convey?
you.
Mhm.
Yeah, go ahead, say it again.
Yep, that's it. Just how can we convey in the most concise manner exactly what you need to know today to feel that we're the right people to help you?
I'm going to transition into the point that I want us to go over. I think you'll find this interesting and helpful as you have conversations with sellers and maybe even buyers for that matter. But to put a bow on our last conversation is this. I bet in this particular scenario, the two agents she talked to first what did not go into a question-based answer. They probably went through some sort of diatribe of stuff, which means that probably what was really important to that particular seller was not even covered. So taking a questioning approach, even if it's awkward in the beginning, is you're going to be light years ahead than just other than just spewing stuff. So here's a scenario I want, and let's find out if somebody wants to handle it. I'd like to see somebody handle this. You've got a listing. It's been on the market 90 days. We talk about the three outcomes all the time. Outcome one, low to no showings. Two, showings, no offers. Number three, it sells. Well, it's not sold. So we know it's outcome one or outcome two. There's only been two showings in 90 days. There is a buyer that has looked at it and it asked questions, spent a couple hours in the home, has some interest. Now, you want to have a conversation with the seller about repositioning, but there's been a buyer there in the last 10 days that's still somewhat interested. So can you see where the conversation is going to go? The seller, out of experience, when you go, if that buyer was not there, you would have a normal repositioning conversation. But because someone looked at it a week ago, 10 days ago, and still is asking questions, they most likely won't want to reposition. Why? Because there's a buyer that's looking at it. Anybody been in that scenario before? Now, this is mastery level conversation. There is a mastery level way to handle this, and there's the rookie way to handle it. Anybody want to handle that as an agent and talk to me as a seller? I want to see what you've got.
I just want you to know that I handle it up to now, or up till the past year and a half. I handled it incorrectly. So that's your coach saying that. Say, well, let's wait and see what they have to say.
Anybody?
Okay.
Can I try?
If not,
Denny,
who?
Denny,
Who was that?
That's Pauline.
Go ahead, Maria or Paulina.
All right, it's Polina, right? Because Maria's we've already solved all of her problems.
So
Polina,
Denny,
you ready?
yes.
Okay.
Denny, we've been on the market for 90 days. What do you want to do
Yes.
now? Here's a marketing update. Here's a market update. What do you
Yeah.
want to do now?
She's going through the 3 M's. There's a market update. Here's a marketing update. Make a decision. Well, I know, but you followed up with another buyer. I know they're working with another agent, but they're still interested. Last I heard, you told me this last week, there's 3 houses they're considering, and we're one of them. So I think we ought to. I think we'd be foolish to change the price now when that buyer's looking.
I hear you, Denny. But what if I told you there was a way to light a fire under them?
Light a fire under me?
I guess no. Denny, would you like them to make this decision faster, whether they want our home or they don't?
I guess, sure.
So there's a way how we can light a fire under those buyers. Would you like to know how?
All right. Sure.
How would you feel if we not only made them a prospective buyer, but also other buyers interested in our home and create a competition?
Well, you're probably now, you probably want me to lower the price.
Well, before we do that, Denny, we can let them know that.
Now, let me ask you a question out of role play. Do you care what I do?
No.
Okay. So you got to be agnostic. You can't push your seller one way or the other. All right. So if you're going to counsel me on this, I would suggest you give me the pros and cons. I like the track you're on. In fact, you're very similar to what my conversation with the seller. So all right, I'll just share with you how I handled it, and then Matt can tell us the right and the wrong way that he's learned how to do it. So I'm going to call you, say, and I'm talking to the sellers. There's three of them. The kids' parents passed away, which happens a lot here in Florida. So I said, okay, they know about the buyer. Number one, when I had the conversation today, 90 days, number one. First thing I wanted to know, listen, guys, I'm going to talk to you. Maybe you and your sister. Listen, ladies, first thing I want to know is basically, do you feel there's something that I should be doing that I'm not, or that I'm doing that let me, do you think there's something I should be doing that I'm not doing? Because we've had two people look at your home in 90 days. Do you have anything on your mind that reflects on what I'm doing for you? I wanted to understand what they had, maybe pent up frustrations. And I said this, I said, here in Florida, everyone knows at least 10 real estate agents. And I know people are giving them advice. You should do this. You should do this. No open houses, all this other crap. Your sellers are hearing it. So I wanted to know, is there anything you think I should be doing or we should be doing differently? No.
No.
All right. So I got that out of the way. Because if they have that concern when I call them and I don't address it, they still have that concern. Next, I said, okay, so we have the buyer out there wanting that seemingly is interested. That what concerns me is not that buyer that has not made a decision. It's the fact that no other people are even interested in our house. I sent them the market update, you guys, the marketing update. And it's a really cool thing. We've had 4,600 views. One person has liked it. Now, then I went into a parallel that they're selling all their parents' stuff. So they got all these great collectibles. Yardrobe. I don't know if you know what that is. It's a porcelain thing. They got like a bazillion of them. And I said, just like you selling your Yardrobes online, if you put it online and you have no interest, what are you going to have to do? You're going to have to reposition it. In fact, I said reposition, and one of the brothers said, Denny, why don't you just say lower the price? I said, oh, sorry, I'm not conditioned to do that. I said, okay, so one of the one person of the three kids wanted to keep it up there. Well, we're not going to lower it as long as this buyer is looking. I said, okay, you can do that. And I went down the same line you went through, Maria, is that the interesting thing is what I'm tired of doing, you guys, is that the buyer has no motivation to make a move right now. We've been on the market 90 days. They know that low probability somebody's going to come along and want to buy it out from under them. I want to thing that bothers me is we only have one person. I want to create some demand for your home and forget about this other buyer. In fact, I didn't say light a fire. If you want to increase your odds of this buyer making a move on your house, what we have to do is let them know that we're interested in selling, whether he buys it or or somebody else does. And so I presented that strategy is the fact that, yeah, you can wait on that buyer, but the buyer may not buy it anyway, and we may miss out on another buyer. So, sorry, phone's still going off. So the bottom line is that we went ahead and made a $50,000 price repositioning, and hoping that might get that buyer off dead center. But my goal was, and I got a little distracted here, my goal was to get the seller's focus off that one person that may want it and get it on maybe the dozens of other buyers that may want it if we get it at the right price. So does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Matt, go ahead. What's your story?
Yeah. Well, can you guys hear me okay? I switched headsets.
Yeah.
Okay. So what I've done before in this situation, well, years ago, I just would say, well, let's just wait. We'll see. We'll make sure this buyer is eliminated before we proceed. However, now how I work a little bit differently is when I give the update, say we've got the buyer that's interested. I would ask them, once we go so far down the rabbit hole, well, before we go too far, would you disagree that up until now, the market is saying no to where we're positioned? So I asked them if they would disagree. Okay, and then they'll say, well, no, we wouldn't disagree. Okay, great. So the good news is we've got this. Up till now, the market's been telling us no. We've got this buyer that's somewhat interested in the property. Maria, you can come off mute, and I'll role play this with you. So, Maria, if there were a way to get this buyer more motivated and off the fence and find out if there's other birds in the bush that may want to buy our property, would you have interest in that avenue?
Yes, I would.
Okay, great. Can I make a recommendation?
Sure.
So we don't disagree that up until now the market has not accepted our price. Am I right? Or
We get it.
am I understanding that correctly?
Yes, we get it.
Okay. So what if this buyer says no? What are we doing as far as the positioning after this?
Well, we would have to do something to get more buyers in, right?
Right. So we're on the same page. We would need to reposition.
Yes.
Okay. How would you feel about repositioning now? Don't wait this buyer out. Reposition now to see if we can spark other interest and then create competition for this buyer.
Well, Matt, can't you tell the other buyer that's on the fence that we have another offer in the house? So maybe that will push them.
Do we have another offer?
No, but can you tell them that?
If I lied to them, if I were to lie to them, what would give you any reason to believe anything I have to say to you moving forward?
Well, I guess our concern is, Matt, if we reposition, let's say by 10,000, what if this buyer was willing to pay 10,000 more?
Who determines what the home is worth?
I guess the buyer,
Right. How many full price offers have we had up till now?
not many.
Right. So my question to you is, we're at $100,000 now. Would you accept a $90,000 offer?
I would.
Okay. So how would you feel about repositioning to 90,000? And we'll see if this buyer and other buyers want to pay us that price or more.
Before we do that, can you just tell them that if they don't submit an offer, we will be repositioning?
How's that going to help us?
Or at least they know what we're about to do. So they will know that there's going to might be more people interested.
Well, we can absolutely, we can tell them. What do we want to do after we tell them?
And then if we don't hear from them, then we have no choice but to reposition.
How long do we want to give them?
24 hours. 24
hours. And we can do that. If we went another route, however, and we repositioned prior without letting the cat out of the bag, and somebody came along and wanted to pay 90,000, and then this buyer came out of the woodworks again and wanted to make an offer and missed out on it because somebody else bought it, would you care? Would you care who bought it?
No, I don't care who bought it.
Right. So why do we want to let them know? Why do we want to feed them when our goal is to get the home sold, regardless of who it is.
I see what you're saying.
You're giving them an opportunity to wait us out. We want to take that opportunity away from them, right?
Yeah, we just don't want them to think we're, like willing to take any price. That's what we would want to avoid.
What's the only offer we have to accept?
It's a full priced offer. We get it.
Right. So where do we go from here?
I guess we will do what you suggest we do because we're not in real estate, so we wouldn't know.
Okay. So we'd like to reposition to create some more demand and see if we can get multiple people going.
If you think that's the right thing, then we will do
You should put me in a corner now.
it.
Well, actually, how I would answer that is, well, there are many things we could do, Maria. Knowing which one is the right thing it would be hard to say. What I do know is what the wrong thing is. Do you know what the wrong thing is?
Yes. Not do anything.
Right. Staying where we are.
Okay.
Hey, thanks, Matt. This has been a hassle here today. I've got no electric in my place. I got service people over there. So thanks for filling in. And sorry if I seem a little bit scattered.
No, that's okay. We actually apparently Indy wants to talk to everybody today, my dog back there. But we actually role played through the scenario, how I'd handled differently. And really the only change was what I asked him, Denny, and you might like this, you might not. At some point I asked, would you disagree that up till now, the market has said no? So, and they'll say, well, no, I wouldn't disagree. And then we go down a very similar path that you talked about and they said, well, they said, if we reposition now, how will we know if they would have paid more for the property? And I said, well, how many full price offers have we had up till now? And they said none. I said, right. So can you lose something you never had? Now, would you, and I said, we're at $100,000. I said, would you accept an offer for $90,000 if you got it in your hands today? And they said, yeah. I said, right. So how would you feel about repositioning to that, which will give this buyer motive to act? But in the summary, guys, I didn't say it very well, but the summary of it was, I don't really much care about this buyer. What I want to do is get other buyers out of the bush. And if this buyer misses out on the property, we don't really care, do we?
Got it. Well, that's excellent. Somebody else had their hand up a little bit ago, and I don't see it right now. Whoever raised their hand, Janetta, I think you had your hand up. Was it you? Did you have a question? You're muted, darling.
Yeah, I was just gonna role play with what you were saying, but you took it on, so just took notes.
That's great. Well, here's the physics of our conversation. Number one, if the market's saying no for a period of time, in my case, 90 days, it's at the wrong number. So even if a buyer wanted it, they're going to pay less than the asking price. And then Matt's comments right. Well, hey, listen, they're going to make an offer anyway. Why don't we just go down to that number? It's also which is the greater pain. You don't make the move on the price and you lose the buyer and we end up selling it for less anyway. Or what they fear is they're going to lower the price, which means the buyer's going to then offer less than the lower price. And I think you had this conversation in the end. You don't have to take it. So,
right.
There you go. All right. We got 10 minutes. What do you want to do? You play Call of Duty, Candy Crush, Fortnite?
I want to do a role play.
All right. What do you want?
Anything. I'll take what we were doing before with the buyer that has an offer. I mean, you've gone through everything, so I'll basically be copying what you said.
That's okay. Let's hear it. All right. So you're calling me? Yeah. So no, there's not an offer. You're calling for a price change, right?
Right. Well, and there was a buyer that was interested in the property.
So we're having our weekly meeting. I appreciate the update, but it would be foolish of me to change the price now when that buyer is still hovering around out there, Janetta.
Denny, I totally understand where you're coming from, but let's look at like it this way. Um, the buyer hasn't committed.
So question one, I'm going to ask you the same question I
Question
asked
one.
Lena. Do you have a horse in this race at what I do?
Do you,
Janet, what are you saying? You don't know what I'm saying?
What are you saying?
I'm saying, are you vested in my decision? You've
I am,
got to be agnostic in this.
okay. Okay, so now what you were saying, you and Matt was saying, do you feel that there's something I should be doing that I'm not
Oh, I
doing
see.
right now?
Sorry.
Okay.
No, I think you're doing a great job. And, we probably need to reposition, but it makes no sense to cut the price down when I got that buyer that's still like asking questions.
Yes, you have a buyer that's asking questions. However, that buyer has not committed yet. So let me ask you this. If you had a buyer that came in right now that was willing to pay instead of $100,000, pay $90,000, which you told me that would be your bottom line. Is that something that you would be willing to consider?
I would probably sell it for 90. Yeah.
Okay. So would you think it makes sense to maybe get ahead of the curveball and reposition that now to save some time?
But what if that buyer was going to pay me 95?
Denny, what if the buyer would pay you 95? What if the buyer was willing to pay you 85? How would
Well,
that?
I'm not going to take 85.
You're not going to take 85, absolutely. So if we reposition now, we don't have to play the guessing game of whether he would consider 85 or 95. We would
So,
open it up to others.
all right, that's where I wanted you to go. Both Matt and I talked about the issue is how many buyers are saying no. Not one potential buyer may be saying yes. Y'all get that? If you want to help your sellers should somehow become more competitive in the market. And I've never, in all my years doing this, I can't remember a time the sellers benefited by not repositioning because there was someone interested. And you know why? Because as soon as that buyer makes the decision to buy another house, guess what? They have another showing. Now we have another potential interested buyer. And so it's like an agent leaving a brokerage. They don't want to leave because they have a listing. Well,
Right.
they'll always have a listing.
Yep.
So put a bow on that, Matt.
Well, another spin on this, guys. I would ask your client, whose best interest are you more focused on? Holding on to this home for that buyer or getting your home sold? Because in essence, you're reserving this home for that buyer. So what would you in Miss Janetta's situation? All right, Denny, let's say we do nothing. How much time are we willing to give this? How much time are we willing to reserve your home for this buyer at this price? That's the scenario that I would like to kind of posit to you guys, and an arrow in the quiver to use with your clients. You're not using it on them. It's just changing the psychology. When you change the way you look at things, the things you look at change. By not repositioning the home, like I said, would you disagree that the market has said no to where we're positioned up till now? No, I don't disagree. Okay, so let's say that we've got this buyer interested. We have this buyer interested. I don't disagree with that either. The question is, how long are you willing to reserve it for them at this price?
That's a great point. Technically speaking, the house is off the market. You get that?
Yep.
It's no longer on the market. What a great point.
Yep, you are reserving it, and Denny, you and I will do more voice chats because this just hit me when we're having this conversation. This is why I love this, guys. It's like When you're not repositioning because you've got a buyer in the woods, or a buyer in the bush, as we say, a bird in the bush, you're reserving it for them and nobody else. How long? So to Janetta's role play, Miss Janetta, you would ask him in that scenario, how long are we willing to reserve it for this person? Just tell me how long, Denny. I don't care. So that's
And
all.
oh, and here this is spinning. This is creativity on the fly. So how long do you want to leave your home off the market?
That's what I was
Yes.
about to say. That's what I was about to say.
Yep.
You just said that.
That's
How
the
long would you
pearl.
leave
I've
it?
never
And-
said that before, but it's true.
Well, it folds right into what I was saying. Would you disagree that up till now the market has said no? Okay, so you've got this buyer that's interested. How long do you want to reserve the home for them? And then
In other words, there's no one wanting to stroke a check for the house. There you go. Use that line, Paulina.
yeah, stroke a check. Yep, a Polinaism.
Maria, yeah, whatever. All right, so we're down on top of the hour. I see Tanner. Thank you so much for putting your ahas in the chat. What did you guys learn today? This conversation here we had, I thought we had a couple good topics.
So I'll say that I have to have a very structured, image of what I'm gonna deliver, and keep the, less worded better. Like the black dress, something similar.
Yeah, well, when you were yelling at your kids, you probably didn't need a long runway. You probably just got right at it.
Yeah, and actually I'm very patient with him. Yeah.
Well,
What else did you hear? What else, you guys?
I like
I like the
the,
way, go
go
ahead.
ahead.
I like the way you put them in the position of trust to say, hey, do you feel there's something that I should be doing? It takes you out of it as not being the agent of choice or doing what you're supposed to be doing. Is there anything I should be doing differently? It puts it on them as well.
it removes
so-
it removes your ego, is what
Right.
it does. It says, "Hey,
Mhm.
I'm humble enough to ask you what I could be doing better for you."
Right. It's almost like doing a survey. And so then when you come back and when we're talking about having somebody interested in the property, you're willing to take your home off the market. It's almost like when people want a high price and you say, we do have one buyer, and that would be you, that's
Yeah.
willing to pay for your house. It's kind of like that same mentality, like you're willing to take your house off the market for one person and not reposition it for how many more. So I really, that was a great takeaway.
Paulina, Maria, did you write that down, what Denny and I said?
I was just going to say, I like the how long are you going to keep your home reserved for these buyers? And
Right,
I
but
like,
did you get what Denny said too?
I got my second one would be how long would you like to keep your home off the market?
Okay, great. I wanted to make sure somebody got it, because Denny and I have these puffs every once in a while, and we don't want them to disappear into the ether, because now Denny and I will voice chat about it later on. What else, guys? Anything else? We're worthless this week, Denny. Nothing. We didn't drop any nuggets. Nothing.
No nuggets.
I don't agree. I all the notes you've given for what would you do different than the other agent? I mean, I have a full page of notes here from that.
You had Robert. You had something earlier to add about that in recon. What were you going to say? Do you remember?
I don't.
Okay, it was about the what were you going to why should I hire you? What would you do different? But yeah, go ahead.
Yeah,
Anything
no, I
else?
mean, I'm just saying, I've been able to get some notes. I mean, your whole, frankly, I'm not sure. I don't, frankly, I don't know what you would do different. That's really awesome. And then, and then your line of, and I'm sassy enough to pull it off, tell me, I mean, if I was to tell you all the things I would do differently, would you even believe me, And
Yeah, well, that you're right, Robert. So that's a great point, guys. That's Robert's recognizing his shot. So like what fits into what his speech patterns. Robert does have that personality where he's like, well, Why the hell would you believe me if I told you?
Yeah.
And so that's knowing how to internalize these things. But and then the one thing that I always talk about, guys, is coming from integrity. So when Robert, the nugget Robert just gave a second ago, well, frankly, I'm not sure what I would do different. I'm not sure why you should hire me. I'm not sure if you should hire me. Am I lying? No, no, that's you're coming 100% from integrity when you say things like that.
And another way to say that is, I'm not sure we should be working together.
Yeah. So, and
Because
so,
the interview works both ways, right? You
Mhm.
don't have to put their nose in that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
so, and I came up with a statement. Tell me if this is too long. So if I was to say, if we were to work together and list your home, and the market tells us we're misaligned with little to no showings or no offers, would you want me to be blunt and honest with you, or would you want me to continue to sugarcoat the situation?
I don't
Is that-
dislike it.
It's not
Well,
too long.
It is a little too long, but it's
I would take I would take you out. Would you
Mhm.
want your agent? Because you're not going to do that to them.
Right.
Mhm.
Take the I out.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah, it's not take the me out. Would you
Okay.
want me? Would you want the realtor you hire to be brutally honest with you? Or
Okay.
would you want them to tell you what you want to hear?
And then you could also, now that you got us going, I know we're going overtime here, so you're going to have to pay us time and a half. Would you want your doctor to tell you what you needed to hear, or because they didn't want to hurt your feelings, tell you something that was not true?
Hmm.
Then you would probably want your agent to do the same thing, correct? One more point I want to give you, and you can go if you need to go, but I don't know why I thought of something so simple. I'm always attempting to give you more ammunition, more parallels. Okay, so I have season tickets to the Bucks, Boo Bucks, and I couldn't go to the game last week, so I put them on StubHub, and it's where you resell your tickets, or Ticketmaster. And it's like anything else, you guys. I put a price on them. Does the market care what my face value says on the tickets?
No.
Nope.
The seller of the tickets doesn't care when the face value is $50 and you can get 500. Likewise, the market doesn't care if you pay 1,000, which I did. My tickets are 1,000 a piece, and I only got $400. And I use that when I talk to my sellers today. Listen, they're trying to sell yard rows, the collectibles. I said I have tickets on StubHub, and they weren't selling. You know what I had to do? I probably lowered the price 6 times. Why? Because the market wasn't coming to me.
Mhm.
Now, the interesting thing about that is there's a shelf life on those tickets. They become worthless after the game.
They aren't even worth the paper they're printed on tomorrow. If tomorrow is the after the game.
And what that means is if you're selling something with a shelf life, you have motivation. A lot of our sellers are motivated, and they have kind of the shelf life too. We have to help them see this point sooner
Mhm.
versus
Well,
later.
they have a shelf life, especially in markets like Denny in my market, because every day that they're not sold, like we've used the analogy before, $100 bills are flying out of the chimney. So your shelf life is day to day here, at a specific price. So it's
Nina, I'm sorry, Matt. I'm sorry.
that's okay. That's all right. Let's go.
Nina.
I had a quick question for Danny or Matthew. The question regarding why you should hire me. When you say, is it okay to say, well, I'm not even sure I can take your listing. I want to take your listing.
No, 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 no.
Because if you want me to price it high, like it's been, I'm not
I get it,
willing
hon.
to do that.
I get it. I get it. Let me jump in.
Help me out.
I know exactly where you're coming from. However, we have to remove our ego because that type of speech pattern is I don't know if you're good enough for me. That has to go away. What we say is, like I've talked about before, I'm not sure. I'm not sure if you should hire me. I'm not sure if I am a good fit. To Denny's point, Nina,
Okay.
I'm not sure if we are a good fit to work together.
Okay.
Yeah.
If you're going to say anything like what you just said, it's I'm not sure if we are a good fit to work together.
Okay, I got it. Thank you, gentlemen.
Write this down before you go, and I'm gonna end the call here. Here's the mastery concept. Remember, one of the axioms, we do not list property. Watch my lips. We do not list property. We list property owners. So what we focus on is the skill of understanding and communicating with owners. We can sell a double wide in Afghanistan if it's priced right.
Mhm.
So I had, and this is my last statement. I had a really good friend of mine call me and ask me a question. She had a listing referral. It was not in the greatest part of town. The owners did not live there, and their son lived there. And the seller said, "I'm not even sure it's habitable." So it's a lower than median sales price, probably in a bad area, probably in bad condition. She's not seen it yet. She's wondering, well, I don't know if I should take the listing. I said to her, listen, we do not list property. We list property owners. My wife tells a story where she took on one of those properties, and the owner of that property didn't live in that house. They lived in a very nice neighborhood and gave her a series of a lot of business in the future because my wife was the only one that would take time to help her with this little dumps, so to speak. So everyone has equal worth, although properties don't.
Let me pair it one more. Pair it one more time, guys. I sold a property in Largo on Curlew, which is a main drag, where it was a condemned property for this family. They inherited it, condemned property, worthless, but they needed my help. Sold it. To Denny's point, I've got one of their properties under contract right now in the same area, a piece of land overlooking the bay. I represent both the buyer and the seller. So it does not matter what they're selling. What matters is that you're helping them solve a problem. If they don't have a problem that you can help solve, don't. But if you can, do, because it's not about that property.
Love your minute, guys. Thanks, Matt. Thank you, people, for being on. I know you got busy things going on. We will have, see, yeah,
I think,
Friday. Yeah, we'll give you the Christmas schedule. We'll be on next week.
yep, be on next week. We'll see you guys. Be good.
Bye.